Hello everybody, my name is Necroxis, and we're taking a look at the Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker Launch trailer. So this just came out yesterday. I'm recording this on Saturday morning because the live stream of this event was in the middle of the night when I couldn't record. And so, yeah, we got the unfortunate but totally understandable news that they are pushing back Endwalker by 2 weeks. So early access will begin on December 3rd, I believe. The first Friday in December. So I and almost every single other Final Fantasy XIV player is like, look, some of us requested off work. It sucks. But dude, we get it. Make the game as good as you fucking possibly can make. And can I just say, holy shit, you would never see out of Yoshi P what you saw out of a lot of other teams. But I'm going to bring up World of Warcraft again because it's the one I have 17 plus years of experience with. You never see Ian Hazacostas come onto a live stream and literally break down crying and spend 20 minutes apologizing that they're pushing the game back just 2 weeks because they want to do one final polish on it. So, yeah, anyway, they showed off this launch trailer. Now, if you are a newbie to Final Fantasy XIV, right before the game expansions come out, they release these launch trailers. And fan opinion on the launch trailers is mixed. I don't want to say divisive, but some people refuse to watch it and some people love it. And the reason is they tend to show off some spoiler bits out of context, and really you're not sure what's going on, but like images or quick scenes of things that are going to be happening in the story. And some people want to go in at 100% blind. I went back and watched like the Shadowbringers launch trailer after I had finished Shadowbringers. And I mean, sure, like, they do show some things toward the end of the story, but without any context, it's just like, oh, that looks cool. I wonder what that is. It's not like you would have any clue what's going on. But anyway, they showed off this launch trailer. I did see this in Japanese the first time I saw it, but there was a lot of dialogue that I didn't know what it was going on. And there's a lot of text on the screen that I couldn't obviously read. So this is my reaction to the English launch trailer. I'm super excited for it. I have no idea what anything says. I have some thoughts about some characters, especially at the end with Alphino, but we'll have to see. Oh, before I begin, spoilers. If you have not finished Shadowbringers, this is spoilers. So go and do that, and then come back and watch this. And probably by then, Endwalker will be out. So, hey. All right, we're going to begin. I'm going to shift over, and we're going to start watching this in 3, 2, 1, now. All the music is so good, by the way.
So you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined.
It was Emmett Selk.
Future undefined and in flux.
Have a safe journey, and please, be careful.
Oh, Tataru. This has to be like the end credits music.
That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end.
Thavnir.
Treasure every moment, every step of your descent. And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
This is new Emmett Selk dialogue. Huh. Interesting.
Maybe we don't belong here, but neither do they. Not out here in the wind
Okay,
and the cold.
Sgarlemald.
That blue will be your guide, test and proof of your conviction.
That bloom?
In darkness, seek joy.
I like how the music said forge ahead and it popped up on the screen. This is a crazy ass looking dungeon. The crystal place? Anima! My Final Fantasy X fans, rise up! We finally got something in the game!
Let me relieve you of your burden.
Besides Ixion.
You've suffered enough.
Who's that? Just chills.
The sky burns. The final days are truly upon us.
so cool. Oh shit!
Bereft of hope, and now dignity. 'Twas a grand, glorious dream.
That's
we shared.
scary. Who is that?
I won't lose them.
Is that Nerva? Or Gabranth?
Are we truly so powerless that our only choice is to flee?
We've come too far to back down now.
I don't know who that is. That is straight up Final Fantasy IX.
Suffering and despair. You appear to fulfill your duty as defender of this star.
Oh, you bitch. Let's fight, you bitch. This part where the music changed right after this. Oh, it brought me to tears last time.
There must be a way to restore things to the way.
I just love this fucking game so much.
To reclaim the perfect paradise we once had. It will be ours again. A world free of sorrow.
That was different than Van Daniel. The first two lines are Van Daniel. That was somebody else. Maybe.
The curtains fall upon this, the final chapter in the tale of the star.
Alright, time for the Alpha No red flags. I don't know what he says here, but everyone's like, oh shit.
To have you at my side, it means more to me than you know. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart. Given what lies ahead, I did not wish to leave for later that which I could do today. After all, tomorrow is never promised.
They're red flagging Alpha No so much. I don't. Let's pause it there. We're just gonna leave it here. I don't know. I don't actually think they're going to kill him off, but this is the end of this arc. And I've read interviews with Yoshi P and Natsuko Ishikawa, the head writer, that they're killing people off in this expansion. Let's go back to this screen. Here we go. Showing all the scions. I don't know what they're going to do with Alphino. Alphino and Alizé are very interesting because if you've gotten to the end of Shadowbringers and you haven't realized this next point out yet, I don't know what to tell you, but Final Fantasy XIV is the story of Alphino and Alizé. It's the story of these two twin teenagers learning to break free of their grandfather's shadow, even though they agreed with his agenda and came to Eorzea to see it fulfilled after his death or disappearance in 2.0, but learn to become their own characters. That's like, especially Alphino, that's literally the entire story of the A Realm Reborn patches and Heaven's Ward's base content, is Alphino growing up, becoming his own person. And Alizé has multiple moments like that as well. Not as on screen of an arc as Alphino, but just as important. Alizé is one of my favorite characters in this story. Like I said, she doesn't get as much screen time compared to Alphino. She gets a lot now, like very close, but not as much. But she is a badass fucking bitch. She is like 16 or I think they're 17 in Endwalker. This fucking girl figured out how to cure fucking tempering at 17. She's the baddest bitch. And Alphino, I just love it. I love him. And I'm going to encourage people who are watching this. If you have, for the love of God, please, if you have not played Final Fantasy IV, please, the game, Endwalker has been delayed 2 weeks. Go play Final Fantasy IV. The original is good. The Steam version, which is the DS, the Nintendo DS port, is also very good. I went and replayed it recently, and I played the Steam version, which is not the Pixel remaster that just came out, but the Steam Nintendo DS port that came out a couple of years ago. I like that one the most because the graphics are better. Sorry. I mean, the pixel remaster is absolutely beautiful. Make no mistake, and the music is phenomenal. I just liked the graphics a little bit more, having played it recently a second time. But for the love of God, please go replay that, because Endwalker is nothing if not the Final Fantasy IV expansion. There is just so many different references to Final Fantasy IV. Space Whale, going to the moon, the Lunarians, which are coming in Endwalker, are just straight up a reference to a Final Fantasy IV character. All of the themes of Final Fantasy IV, I can already see in this trailer, and what very little we know about it, I can already see it permeating the entire expansion. There's some like really big spoilers things that I don't know what's going to happen, but I can infer a lot of things because, for example, in Final Fantasy XIV, there's a character called Xenos, Zenos, and in Final Fantasy IV, the big bad's name is Zemus, Zemus. So it's so fucking close. And I don't know how we didn't see it beforehand, but once they announced this, everyone was like, holy shit, this is the Final Fantasy IV expansion. And just recently in that last stream last night, they actually showed off several of the Tombstone max level gear, and they have Cecil, they have Cecil's gear, Kane's gear, Rydia's gear, who else? Who am I forgetting? I don't remember if Rosa is her gear or not's in the game, but multiple Final Fantasy IV characters, just their outfit is like the job gear of multiple classes, which is so cool. So yeah, and the reason I bring up Final Fantasy IV is because in Final Fantasy IV, there are a pair of twins who have the same color scheme as Alphinaud and Alizé, and yikes. I know they're not just going to copy that storyline, but thematically, they're good. I would not be shocked if it's very similar, and I hope Yoshi P knows that if he kills either of our elf children or otherwise harms them, we're all flying over to Japan because we got to have some fucking words. And by the way, after I saw this yesterday, and I saw everybody from like Jesse Cox to like a ton of other people being like, there's absolutely no way they're going to kill off Alphinaud or Alizé. And I'm like, I hate to be the bearer of bad news if any of y'all aren't like a Final Fantasy veteran, but in almost every one of the games, a major character dies by the end of the story. And if they don't die, they suffer very, very harsh things happening to them over the course of the story. I'm not going to go through everyone and spoil them all, but the ones off the top of my head I can think of are Final Fantasy VII, there are character deaths, and the end of the story. Final Fantasy VIII, kind of. Final Fantasy IX, Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy XII, Final Fantasy XIII, Final Fantasy XV, Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy IV, like almost all of them. So I don't think it's fair to say anybody's safe. Who I think are the safest is Tataru is not going anywhere. Kryl, I have no, like, I'm sorry if people like Kryl. She's fine. I don't dislike her, but she's like, bleh. So I think Tataru at the very least is totally fine. Kryl, I'm like, if she dies, I won't care that much, to be perfectly honest, unless she does some crazy ass thing at the end. I think the two that are not absolutely for sure dying, but I'm very comfortable saying that they are going to die is Thancred and Estinian. I think both are on the chopping block. Urianger could, but I think he fills a very important role in like a story. Urianger is the guy, he's the lore dump guy. He's the guy where like we need something explained to us. Urianger knows. Y'shtola is like the mascot of this franchise, so I guess she technically could die, but I really doubt it. The twins, I don't think that they will die. And Grahatia, if he dies, maybe more than Alphinaud. We're gonna have some fucking words, Yoshi, if you kill off our cat boyfriend after just getting him back. So I don't know if Alphinaud's the biggest one because they're throwing death flags at him, and I do agree with a lot of people thinking, first of all, his speech at the end is not why I think he could die. Like, whatever. He gives speeches every expansion. It's that the tie-ins to Final Fantasy IV, the fact of who his grandfather is. Like, I could see a very satisfying conclusion to Alphinaud's story arc where he becomes the savior of Eorzea through doing something, but dies in the process, and basically fulfilling his grandfather's, reliving the arc of his grandfather, including the ending. Like, I could see that being done satisfactorily. What I think my actual real prediction for Alphinaud is that his final speech there was a red herring, but the writer, Natsuo Ishikawa, is so fucking good. She knows that we know it's a red herring, so they're gonna do a double bluff to us. Have that speech be a red herring, and make us all think Alphinaud's safe because it's a red herring. But then really put Alphinaud in danger of dying. But then what happens is that Estinian, sacrifices himself to save Alphinaud. Because Alphinaud and Estinian have had, a brother relationship for the longest time. And Estinian, I think, Estinian, just like Thancred, he has gone through his entire character arc. Like, his arc is done and over with. He has gone through the entire journey of his character. Not that I want him to die, because he's fucking amazing. They both are. But both of them very much could die, and I'd be like, okay, they had really satisfying character arcs. The reason I'm saying Estinian and not Thancred is because Thancred and Alphinaud obviously are friends, and they really like each other a lot. But they never made Estinian and Alphinaud's relationship, they really made that strong, really tight, and they brought it up again just recently in the very last patch of Shadowbringers. So that's how I think it'll happen. For Thancred, I could honestly see him doing something with Venat. And if you're not sure who Venat is, let me find it. Blah, 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 blah. Venat is basically the Hydaelyn version of Elidibus. Where is she? Here she is. What's up, girl? I also really love the implication of this little scene right here. Where basically we're gonna see the fall once again, a second time, but through her eyes. I'm really interested in that. Also, can we just talk about, where is it here? The first time we frickin' see this shit? Holy cow, here we go. What the fuck? It's is this I could see this being the last dungeon. Does this take place inside Hydaelyn, inside the crystal? It looks just like her aesthetic, exactly identical to it. Holy shit. Let's just go through and watch this one more time, and I'll stop. This time I'll stop and give some thoughts when I see fit. And also, I want to watch it again, and the music is good, so whatever, fight me.
And so you venture forth.
I'm just going to be pausing it whenever we see a big group to see if anyone's conveniently missing. Kryle's gone again because she's useless. I assume this is before we get to Sharlayan. Yeah. Tataru's seeing us off in Limsa to go to Sharlayan. Or we're going to... I don't remember if they told us if we're going to Thavnir or Sharlayan first. I assume Thavnir, because Sharlayan is the end game city. Although they could pull a Shadowbringers, where we went to Yulmore right at the beginning of the game, and then left and then came back at the end of the game. Who knows?
To the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux.
Where are we going to hear this new Emmett dialogue, too, by the way? This is new. We're obviously going to be getting some more... ancients, I guess, Amarosians. I don't know how you want to describe them. Ancient Ashians. They weren't Ashians at the time. They were just ancients. We're obviously going to get more ancients lore. Are we going to get more... Is Emmett Selk just going to be the narrator of the expansion? I'd be fine with that. Why do you gotta say that? All right, so it looks like they actually gave the Amarashans like actual models this time instead of just the hoods. Let's go back one more frame. Like that looks like an actual humanoid. Yeah. I really hope this is what they actually looked like, because it very much felt like, because we were looking at memories last expansion, that we didn't have the full picture, or Emmett Selk couldn't have been asked to remember what they all actually looked like. I don't know, maybe?
Which lives is destined to die.
Although it does seem weird that they're the ancient well, maybe not. I was going to say, it does seem weird that maybe the ancient version of them are just humans, but the fact that all of the sundered races are humanoids, maybe it's not that weird, actually.
Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end.
Okay, this is definitely Thavnir based on the statue. And these are all these... I wonder if this is going to be... because we see Estinian and Vitra a little bit later here. This is like a recreation of the shot from the trailer.
Treasure every moment, every step of your descent. And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
Where is this? So I don't think this is obviously cut around to make it deceptive, but this actually is a cutscene where it ends by going into the water. That's weird.
Find your truth.
Are they gonna like go a couple more frames? Like, are they gonna like reveal underneath the water that there's like a tower under there or something that we missed? Otherwise, that's a really weird way to end a cutscene. This is Tower of Zod, I believe.
Maybe we don't belong here. But neither do...
Okay, they show this blue-haired guy several times, and he looks very similar to the blue-haired dude from Shadowbringers who ends up dying like midway through the story. I want to see his face. He's very obviously a Garlean. I wonder if... So, I haven't finished entirely the 100% of Baja. I'm like very close to the end. The two major... And I should have looked this up before I watched this, but I didn't want to really spoil the Baja storyline because I still delusionally think I'm going to finish it. Now I have 2 extra weeks, but who knows? Because every time I play 14 now, I just spend it leveling alts. But the two unaccounted for major Garlean characters are Nerva, who is the cousin, I believe, of the Emperor, and was one of the factions controlling, I believe, is it the 3rd or the 4th Legion? Basically vying for power after Garlemald falls apart. And then also Gebranth, who was involved in Baja. But I don't know if Baja ends with Gebranth dying. It could. And I don't think he looks like Gebranth. I think this is Nerva. And I'm wondering if, because we see him fighting the monsters, and then he later on talks about, like, oh, it was a great dream that we have. I wonder if he ends up, like, just joining us because, like, fuck it, the world's ending, dude. We gotta, like, we can fight about politics after the world is no longer being destroyed.
But neither do they.
Like, he's charging Amaric and Lucia first. Hold on, let's go. Blah, 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 blah.
Maybe we don't belong here. But neither...
Who is that? So that looks like... Oh, wait, okay, thank you. That's not what I was looking for. So that's... Oh, it's just Lucia... Is that Amaric in the back right there? Lucia... I'm so glad Lucia's coming back because she's a Garlean. But who is this? This almost looks like... What's her name? I don't remember her name! From Stormblood, one of the Ara, the peaceful one. She wore like a pink dress like that. She was the daughter of the granddaughter of the leader. And I don't know who this could be. Anybody. But I wonder if this is where we first show up, and then Nerva. I'm just gonna presume this is Nerva, and that's Maxima. Yeah, Maxima and Lucia. I love that they're together. Is this supposed to be Alphino? It's a blue. I don't know, maybe. But I like the idea that Nerva is like we show up. We're like, we're gonna help. The fucking apocalypse is happening. And he's like, fuck that. We're Garlemald. Never needs help from outsiders. Or I guess he would consider both of them traitors, would probably be the more likely scenario.
Not out here
And then Alphino and Alizé, or Alphino says these people, they don't belong here. They don't belong out in the cold. I think what he's referring to here is there's an area in Garlemald I saw during the press tour where it's like it's a bunch of people huddling together in like a train car because like the whole fucking city is destroyed. So maybe he shows up to help like the refugees, and they're like, "Get out of here, outsiders! We don't need no Eorzean help." But Alphino and Alizé are good boy and girl, and they want to help everybody. That bloom will be your guide. And then we see the flower. What is Venat? What is she doing? Like, she's got to be just like Elidibus. Like, she withdrew herself from Hydaelyn to be like, dude, this is the end game. I gotta help you out because everything's going to hell.
For your conviction. In darkness, seek joy.
This fighting looks like Garlemald creations. Soldiers. This is one of the Magus sisters. I forget which one this is. This is in Tower of Zot. This dungeon again, man. This has to be Hydaelyn. Because the background, where this has to be inside Hydaelyn. The background is like the ethereal sea that she's always in, that we see her in. It looks just like it.
Walk free and bear the light for others to follow.
This asshole. Anima again. Oh, I love that it's literally his overdrive from Final Fantasy X Oblivion. We fall underneath and the other one breaks free. I want to see him go like boom, 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 because that's what that one does. It like beats the shit out of us. Then we see, "Let me relieve you of your burden." And it's like a childlike or a female voice, and I don't know who it is, but we're clutching the crystal of Azem, who was us.
You've suffered enough.
Who is that? There's a big question about who is the Dreamer. And the Dreamer is somebody that Xenos and Fandaniel are taking advantage of to somehow power what they're doing. And I've seen a lot of people say, oh, the Dreamer is just Xenos himself because he always talks about how he's dreaming. But the way they frame it in the last conversation in Shadowbringers is weird. And thinking about, like, weird is in a way where I don't know if it's Xenos himself. And then thinking back to Final Fantasy X, Anima, who I'm convinced Anima is Xenos' fiend, his Void Scent, because he's a Reaper, and all Reapers have their own special Void Scent. I'm convinced that Anima is Xenos' Void Scent. And in Final Fantasy X, Anima is the Aeon version of not the big bad, but basically the big bad, Seymour's mother. Seymour's mother sacrifices herself to become Anima. So I'm wondering, and we know who Xenos' father is. He's dead. We've never met Xenos' mother. I wonder if they're just gonna use that theme and make it Xenos' mother, and just be like, she has some weird something with her that she could like dream up, like she's connected to Anima or something. Like, I don't know. And then they show the fucking Reaper right after that. Oh. Anima has to be Xenos' Void Scent.
The sky burns. The final days are truly upon us.
I forget, what the fuck is his name of this monster? Ugh! It's a Final Fantasy monster. Humbaba? Oh, what's it called? I know what that is.
Of hope, and now dignity. 'Twas a grand, glorious.
Okay. This guy has white hair. The other guy has blue hair. We don't see this guy's face. Is this Nerva? Because he has like judge gear on. Is this Gabranth? Does Gabranth survive Baj? Unless it's a new character, it has to be Nerva or Gabranth.
Dream we share.
There's nobody left. I won't lose them, not a one. And I don't know who that is. That sounds like the guy a little bit earlier on. This has to be the Garlean person. We've come too far to back down now. It's frickin' Vinod again. Girl, what are you doing? Tell us what you want! Because at this point, like, if she actually was Hydaelyn, or if she, I mean, we do know she becomes the core of Hydaelyn, just like Elidibus becomes the core of Zodiark. Why is she already... I guess maybe she had the white mask before any of that, but I just assumed that... Oh, God. Fucking everything up. I just assumed that she changed how she looked a little bit when she... I guess Elidibus didn't change how he looked when he became the Heart of Zodiark. I don't know. My point that I don't longer believe anymore was going to be she shouldn't look like this because she shouldn't have become Hydaelyn yet, but I guess she just always looked like this and had the white mask with the actual fancy extra stuff on it. I guess. See, now, where are we before? Because before, this is like before, like, look at the ground. This has to be Hydaelyn gets shattered, and we, like, venture through the remnants to her core or something. Yeah? That's gotta be what it is. Now this I want to reference. This is straight up Final Fantasy IX. Fucking Zidane on the throne. I wish I had a bigger freaking... Wish I had a bigger picture of it. But you guys can see it, right? And where's he at? Pandemonium in Final Fantasy IX. I know that there's a bigger one I can find. I'm so annoyed by it. Oh, here we go. Can you guys see this? Oh yeah, you can. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. 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 That is literally the same. That's like the same thing. I don't know why. I don't know why this is the random Final Fantasy IX reference, but that's what that is. And in 9, when that happens, there's some big shit going down in the story. So I don't know how that ties into this, or they just wanted to use that imagery. This looks like the throne. This is the throne that Xenos is sitting on in the trailer, which is, I think, at the top of the Tower of Zot in Garlemald. Now, where's this? There are just bodies everywhere. And these circles kind of remind me of, like, the excuse me, the imagery from the World of Darkness. And let's see, we have Alize, Alphino, Grahatia, and us. That's foreboding. Does anyone else show up? Estinian, but that's a different shot. There's nobody else here. Maybe they are the final 3 to come with us to the... This feels like something that happens at the very end. Let's be honest. That's a recreation from the trailer. Who is this bitch? I wish I could find a frame where I could see them up close. What is their weapon's like just a staff, I think.
To fulfill your duty as defender of this star.
Oh, you bitch! Callbacks, 1.0, ARR, Heaven's Word, Stormblood, Shadowbringers.
There must be...
This scene is interesting because they're all covered in shadow. So these are probably the Zodiark supporters.
To restore things to the way they were.
This has to be Zodiark, right? This looks just like imagery of Zodiark. Maybe not.
To reclaim the perfect paradise.
This looks like sealed, like Zodiark sealed on the moon, right? And we know Zodiark is sealed in the moon. Van Daniel's throwing me for a loop, because when he introduces himself, he's like, I don't want to do the rejoining. Fuck it. Burn it all down. I'm Kefka. Destroy everything. I want to die too. I don't give two shits. But then this narration, it's like, there's got to be a way to recover who we are and blah, 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 blah. I guess he could have been just lying, but it's a weird choice if he was just like, oh, I just am like all the other Asians, and I just decided, I pretended that I wasn't. Maybe something happens to change his mind in the story. Maybe he thinks there is no chance of doing our actual true rejoining, but then midway through the story, it begins to happen, and he's like, "Oh shit, Elidibus and the other two were right." But then just listen to the first two sentences, which sound just like Van Daniel, and then the voiceover after that does not.
There must be a way to restore things to the way they were. To reclaim the perfect paradise we once had. It will be ours again.
Those do not sound like the same person.
A world free of sorrow. Let the curtains fall upon this, the final chapter in the tale of the star.
To have you at my side, it means more to me than you know. Thank you. From the bottom of my heart. Given what lies ahead, I did not wish to leave for later that which I could do today.
Can I just make Rahatia my husband, please? Can we just appreciate this man?
My heart.
Look at this. Look at this cat boy.
Given what lies ahead, I did not wish to leave for later that which I could do today. After all, tomorrow is never promised.
This is not the early access, by the way. This is the official launch. It's the first. It's the Tuesday in December. I don't think is it the first or the second? Whatever. The early access, which you get if by pre-ordering the expansion, is the Friday before. It's like Friday at like 4 in the morning or something. Yeah. So I don't know. Those are all my thoughts about this. I am more excited for this than maybe anything since like Kingdom Hearts 3. And I already know it's not going to disappoint me like Kingdom Hearts 3 is, so that's what makes me even more excited. But yeah, I can't believe we're actually at an end. I'm going to be so emotionally drained by the end of this expansion, and I'm ready for it. Natsuko Ishikawa, fuck me up. I'm ready to go. So, we've got just under a month now, and I don't know what else to say. So, thanks for watching this weird deep dive into this trailer. That's not what I originally planned to do. I was just going to watch it, but then I got carried away, because this is what happens when you have a good game that you're passionate about. It feels good to be back to one of the games that I feel like this about, huh? I mean, I never was not this about 14, but you know what I mean. It's good to have a game like this again where I feel compelled to do this because it's so good. So, y'all know what I'm talking about. But let me know all your thoughts about anything I've said down in the comments below. But until then, stay awesome, and yeah, farewell.